All right, I want to try to do this really quickly before the bell rings. I'm racing time here at school. First of all, there are a couple of square roots that are going to come up a lot. It's just useful for you to know what they are approximately. Square root of 2, square root of 3, and square root of 5 come up a lot. And you should just know that this one, if you put it in your calculator, is about 1.4. That's an estimation. This is 1.7. That is also an estimation. And this is what? That's right. It's a little bit more than square root of 4. It's about 2.2. And we can use those numbers in the same ways we can use 3.14 for pi, but occasionally we want an exact number, so we want to leave those in there. And I want to show you some things that your calculator will do, as well as, some things that will come up on tests occasionally, and you need to know, oh, that's an equivalent form. In the same way that if you got 4/8 for an answer on something, but a multiple choice test might have 1/2 because it's an equivalent form. Okay, so we have a right triangle. We actually have two right triangles. Right triangle here, and maybe another slightly larger one over here, and those two angles are congruent, so we know that they are similar by what? That's right, by angle, angle. They are similar. And maybe this one is has a leg of 2, and this one has a leg of 2 square root 3. So the question is, if I tell you this is 5, how much is this one? Now we can set up a proportion and figure it out, but we could also, if we just know what our scale factor is, we can do it from that. And hopefully it's obvious to you that what I've done from here to here is I've multiplied by square root of 3. And if I put this in the calculator, that is a number, which I'll show you what it is. 2 times the square root of 3 equals 2 square root 3, and I hit my SD button, and I can see that's about 3.46. And if I divide that by 1.4, you will notice that I am very close back to my, square root of 3. Try that again. 2 square root 3 is that, okay, which is 3.46. And if I divide that by 1.7, which is the approximate square root of 3, I'm back to my, very close to my 2. So some rounding errors going on there. So I'm multiplying by 1.7 there, but I'm also multiplying by square root of 3. So if I'm going from here to here, well, I'm going to multiply by square root of 3. And once again, I can turn that into 1.7, but if I want to know the exact number of that without any kind of rounding errors, that is 5 square root 3. Hopefully that's straightforward enough. Okay, where this gets a little tricky is maybe something like this. So I've got a right triangle, and I've got a similar right triangle that maybe is a little smaller, and the numbers on that are 7 square root of 2, and maybe I tell you this is 11. Okay, so once again, going from here to here, if those are similar, which they are by angle, angle, I am multiplying by the square root of 2, or about 1.4. So going in the other direction, I can divide by 1.4 or square root of 2. But if I want the exact answer, I don't want to divide by 1.4. I want to divide by square root of 2. So it's going to be 11 divided by square root of 2, which interestingly enough, if I put that in my calculator, 11 divided by square root 2 and hit equals, it tells me, oh, that's 11 root 2 over 2. That's very strange. And I can also get that as a decimal answer, which is 7.77, which is probably very close to 11 divided by 1.4. 7 point is close. It's not that close, okay? But it's close. Okay, so what's going on there? Why is 11 over square root of 2 the same as, why is my calculator spitting this out? And this is also a reason why you might want to get your own calculator so that you know how it does things and gives you the proper format. I actually really like our calculators because they do this for you. But here's what's going on. Mathematicians don't like leaving radicals in the denominator. So in the same way that converting from 1/2 to 4/8, I can multiply this by 4 over 4 to get 4/8. I can do that same trick down here to get rid of my radical. I can say, well, if I multiply this times square root of 2 over square root of 2, that's just multiplying by 1, not changing everything. So that ends up being 11 square root of 2 on the top. But what is the square root of 2 times the square root of 2? Well, it's the square root of 2 squared, which we know is 2. So that's a weird little conversion, which you will see again in one moment, but this happens a lot. And the main reason, while our calculators will do this, it's nice to know this because occasionally, if you're doing a test or something, you may need to do this on your own. Okay, almost done, and the bell's about to ring. Okay, one last example. So I have similar triangles. They don't look similar, pretty bad drawings. I'm going to say this is 6 square root 5, and this is 6, and this is 15. Okay? So I'm going, they are congruent by a, going from here to here. I'm multiplying by a root 5. So if I want to go in the other direction, I'm going to divide by square root of 5, or about 2.2. And so when I get that, I'll do 15 over square root of 5. See if you can figure out what that would be. Oh, it's not quite in this frame there. 15 square root of 5. What is that when I put it in my calculator? Okay, so 15 divided by square root of 5. Oh, it says 3 root 5. Not quite what maybe I was expecting. 3 root 5. And once again, that has a number. That is 6.7. And once again, if I do 15 divided by 2.2, that is very close to that 6.7. Not quite, because there's some rounding going on. So what happened there? How did I get the 3 root 5? Well, same thing. Root 5 times root 5, because I want to get rid of this in the denominator. So that ends up being 15 root 5 in the top, but it ends up being square root of 5 over square root of 5 squared in the bottom, which we know is 5. But look, there's some canceling going on, because 15 and 5 will both divide by 5. So that becomes 3, that becomes 1, and that's how we got 3 root 5. Okay, I'm going to leave you with one more to go. See if you can figure it out on your own. What is 6 divided by square root of 2? Ciao.